If you enjoy our show, spread the love wherever you listen by rating, reviewing, subscribing, sharing, all that good stuff to help us get ourselves out there. And with that said, let's start the show. I'm Ode. That's Vicky. I'm me. You're you. We are we.
Oh my God, that was so corny.
The You, Me, We
goodness.
podcast. Welcome back to another episode. Vicky, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am great. It's like I haven't seen you in a couple minutes.
You're so annoying.
What are we talking about today, Vicky?
You didn't even let me ask you how you're doing. I did?
You did, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, damn, why are you jumping into...
So that shows me that's the equivalent of when somebody goes, when you see like a coworker in the morning and you're like, hey, how's it going? And then if they were to start really responding and telling you how they're doing, you'd be like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
So I feel like you saying, I'm good, how are you? You don't really mean it. You just...
I don't.
just
I
going
use
with
it
the
as
flow.
a filler.
Wow, okay.
I'm sorry, not feeler.
As a filler?
As a filler.
Yeah. Okay.
Feeler, wow.
Perv. What are we talking about this week?
Why am I always
Vicky?
introducing the topic?
Because I introduced the show.
You know, when we date, right? And not just we, me and you, I mean, when people are dating, there's just certain things that you want to make sure you agree with.
Okay.
That you have in common or that you have the same stance on.
Religion.
Well, no, because
politics.
you don't always have to be in the same religion to be in a relationship. But if it's
some-
important to you, then yeah.
At a time like this, politics.
Oh, yeah.
Marriage, children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But then I feel like there's just certain values, or is that the word? Values and morals?
Yeah.
There's just certain values or morals that we just don't share. I don't think that there's a perfect... I feel like there's someone for everyone, but they're not in the way that TV has envisioned them for us to be.
Okay.
Like, they are not the absolute most perfect piece to your missing puzzle. You know, like...
Aww.
They are the one that fits the best. But that doesn't mean that everything that you hold near and dear is also going to be theirs too. And I feel like some people don't have that, they don't grasp that concept that this person is not your missing half. They're their own person with their own faults and their own, I don't know.
What would you... This is off topic.
Good stuff.
Off topic, on topic. What would you say if I came home one day with I was like, Vicky, look at my new tattoo, and it's like a puzzle piece. And I said, hey, notice there's one missing. Now what you're going to do is go to the tattoo shop and get a tattoo of that piece. Would you be down?
I would.
You would? You corny, yo. That's mad corny. That's cheesy.
I would do that.
I want to say let's do it, but I'm like, no.
I would do it, actually.
Okay.
So, Ode, with that said, what are some values or whatever that you feel like we differ on?
Well,
I know one.
Well, we both know one or two because we just
we of course we don't
brought
come
this
up in
up.
here hot and crazy no more.
Yeah.
Because y'all don't even understand doing that and leaving things at a whim. It's not because you know, we want to look sharp and we want to whatever. Like, yeah, that's a benefit. But we do that to limit the possible arguments that can start from just a simple brainstorming
Shout out to
while recording.
one of our listeners, Naisha, who actually pointed that out on our YouTube. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube. She was like, hey, I think her exact words were, if this is too personal, feel free to delete the comment. But she was like, I've definitely noticed us, like, I'm paraphrasing, I've definitely noticed you guys more at peace with each other or gelling better. She was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. She was like, I'm not sure if it's therapy, but whatever it is, it's working and it's noticeable. So I was like, I think my response to her was, I'll make sure our therapist doesn't see this because then he'll want more money because clearly he's doing a good job.
Oh, and look, I also attempted to do my hair.
Mm-hmm.
I even tucked it in the ear so that it looks like I am really trying to do my hair.
On behalf of the viewers, we thank you.
On behalf of myself, because I looked hit in that last episode. Man, I really got to start presenting myself as a put together individual more often.
So, values that we differ on.
Yeah, but also I have a surprise one at the end. We're not going to argue.
I was going to say, you just said we don't handle that kind of stuff
I
too
know,
well.
but it would make for a really good topic.
Okay. Stuff that we...
And for the sacrifice of the show.
Values that we differ on. One thing that we kind of knew, but we talked about it a little bit more in depth in therapy, was that we differ, or we put more value on...
we differ in our... in
how much we value.
Weigh.
Yeah, how much we weigh. I guess like that verbal confirmation or that verbal affection, that verbal or just talking to each other a certain way, always saying I love you and compliments, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I think about that, when I think about that conversation, I think about a story that my aunt told me. And I could see how someone would be like, that's too, that's a little, So my aunt, I remember she called me one night because she would just call us and talk. It was like 1 a.m. And I always loved when she called and cause I'll just be up. So we're talking and she tells me this story of a couple where the wife would always tell, I think I probably told you this, the wife would always tell the husband, I love you, and the husband never really said it. And then one day she asked him, well, why don't you say I love you? And the husband pretty much said, I told you I love you when we got married. If anything changes, I'll let you know. I get that that's not the most romantic story for some. Some would be like, no, you got to tell the person you love them every day, blah, blah, blah. But it just reminds me of that story. That's all I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Some people might find that very romantic and be like, oh, that makes sense, blah, blah, blah. But we differ in that I acknowledge that I don't need that constantly. I don't need the constant compliments for personal reasons, because of how I was brought up, because of how I take compliments, blah, blah, blah. But just in a relationship, I don't need it to know that, okay, good, she's still here because she tells me she loves me every day, or she makes sure we kiss before we leave the house, or she always throws compliments so I know she appreciates me. I personally don't need that. Mm-hmm. If you were to not do it for a week or not tell me you love me for a week, I'm okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not all of a sudden coming up with different scenarios, thinking negative things. For me, it's just, she hasn't said it this week. I probably haven't said it. It doesn't have a negative effect on me when it comes to how I look at our relationship at the time if you're not saying certain things or doing or giving me certain compliments. Okay. And you differ.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite.
Okay. Explain how you're needy. I'm joking. How do you differ? Well, explain when you say complete opposite.
The complete opposite of what Ode just said.
So what do you need?
Do you want me to break that down?
I want you to break it down for the listeners. What do you need?
I need constant words of affirmation.
Ew, love languages.
Really?
That's a love language, right?
Yeah, but you didn't have to do that.
I was referring to how I expressed my views on that whole concept of love languages and that being a hot topic.
It's not a hot topic.
No, but it's one of those. Love languages is a buzzword as of late.
Because people quarantine together and they're like, yo, why the hell is this person being so annoying? And they're just starting to figure out that they have a different love language, that they don't receive information the same as them.
Or they're figuring out, before we went into quarantine.
Or they're figuring out how to coexist with people.
That they just met right before quarantine.
As adults.
No, I was going to say, some people realize, like, yo, sis, you just met him a couple months ago before you guys started quarantining, whatever, together.
Or you're just finally realizing certain attributes of other people that you never did because you had all these fillers like work and commute and kids and all this shit.
So continue.
I need constant words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what does it say to you if you don't get them?
It means that you don't care about me.
That's what you feel it means, or for you, that's what
how
that
I
means.
take it. I start to feel that way.
What is constant?
Every day.
Every day you need
a certain form of a word of affirmation.
How simple can it be? And this is me asking for men who might have that question. Like, all right, so I need. Some men might take that as, oh, I need flowers every day. I need to get her.
Well, that's not words of affirmation. If you're getting something.
I'm giving an example.
But I'm telling you that's the wrong example to give.
Okay, the example I was trying to give was, I'm asking for those men who might misinterpret things, where they might misinterpret a woman saying, hey, I need you to show me you love me every day. While they might take that as, oh, I need 24, I need 2 dozen roses every day. When all she might be meaning is like something small. So, which is why my question was, what types of words, how big, how small, for those who might misunderstand that or not know how to interpret that.
Well, I will go tell them to send a link to their significant other to take a love language, so that way they would that love language quiz, so that way they would correctly identify the way that the person think, because something small could be just something you say, while something small could be a small gift, and that's how they perceive that you love them, or a small gesture, which is your love language. So I would tell them, go send that quiz to them. But for me, I need you to say something encouraging, something that I need a confirmation that I make you feel some kind of way. A verbal confirmation.
Give me an example. And I'm have to give me an example. I'm thinking of
you could flatter me. You could say you love me. You can compliment something that I'm doing. Like, I'm that person.
What do you say to? And this is again, I'm thinking of the different like responses, of the people who might be like, okay, well now he or she is just forcing it every day.
Well, you'll know if it's fake. If I make you toast and you're like, wow, this toast is amazing, obviously that's bullshit.
And you know what? And I think that goes back to what I was saying, where
like, be genuine with what you say, but just say it.
And that goes back to what I was saying, where there's some people who might interpret that as, I have to make sure I stop the world for her toast, when it could just be, oh my gosh, babe, thanks for that thoughtful thing of making me toast. While some might think it has to be a Facebook post, a picture of the toast with the strawberries next to it.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Oh my gosh, my babe.
That reminds me of a girl who went ham because her man bought her a bagel. Yo, I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? I had to unfollow them in that moment. I was like, get the fuck out of my damn Instagram.
Wait. But have you not gotten excited when I brought you an everything bagel with cream cheese on the side? Like, excited.
Yo, but to write you like a 5-page letter on a fucking Instagram caption? Absolutely not. No. How
about you show your appreciation next time I bring you a bagel?
I appreciate it by inhaling the fucking bagel.
But did you post about it? If you don't post about it, it never happened.
Yeah, no. I had to delete that person.
Ungrateful.
But the words, that's what I need.
Okay.
And that could be needy for people. I really don't give a fuck.
Okay. No, I'm not saying this.
It is. You said it before. It is how, well, your joke is 50% truth.
We're going against everything Naisha just pointed out on our YouTube comment.
I knew this topic was going to be a problem with the first thing you said, Ode.
But it's not a problem. Why are you like this?
Because you're being problematic.
I'm
making inappropriate jokes, and we've had that discussion of don't make jokes.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I would.
And then just taking responsibility, like, all right, I made a joke, you're right. Shouldn't have done it.
Oh my gosh. I think I explained myself with every comment
You can
I've
still
said.
explain yourself and still make a joke right after, which is what you do.
Oh my
And what you just did several times.
Didn't have to go here. Didn't have to get
Exactly, Ode. Stop joking.
Whatever. But do you, okay, no, but on a serious note about the joke, could you see, because I'm being honest and coming from that perspective of those men who, or those people who just like, wouldn't, wouldn't understand it or would interpret that. Some wouldn't. You can see how someone interpret that as needy. Like they would say, "Oh, she's being he or she's being needy." They want me to like big them up every day for the simplest thing. I'm not saying that's how I feel. I know some people would interpret it that way or misinterpret it that way. Again, because they think that it has to be a show. They think that it has to be the 500-word bagel post, not realizing that it could just be just some kind of acknowledgement.
It could literally be like, yo, I really like those shoes.
Yeah.
It just makes me feel like you're paying attention to me. That's all it is. So whether you're complimenting something small or something big, it doesn't matter. Like, as long as you're saying something to me about me, like that you seem to be impressed or really like, or you're happy about something that I did, like, it just shows me that you are paying attention to me.
Should we be adding this to our list of like deal breakers? If him and I don't have the same love language, to be honest, you know what?
No, because I don't think you need to have the same love language to exist in a relationship. I think you need to have a good understanding of the person's love language.
You can understand it, but are you willing to?
Oh, yeah. You need to have a good understanding of the person's love language. And if you know that that's not your thing, because you're never going to say, you don't find yourself, for whatever bullshit reason you're giving yourself that you can't exist with someone who does this, who is that way, or you just don't agree with the way that they go about their love language. Like, I like gifts, but I only like gifts that are like $2,500 and up kind of person. I'm sure that they exist. Then you can say, I don't bump with this kind of love language. And there's guys that they like that kind of love language. I don't know. Nah. Sugar daddies.
I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to offend anybody by saying. So
I don't think anyone should be offended by the term sugar daddy.
Yeah, you should.
Why?
What if you? Hey, I like to spoil my partner. I like to give him or her everything she wants or she needs. You know what? Because of how flashy I am, whenever I do that, it's pricey, it's flashy.
But that's not a sugar daddy.
No, but then some people might look at that person and be like, "Oh, you're a sugar daddy," but I'm offended by that because no, that's what I do. I'm not a sugar daddy.
No. A sugar daddy's an older gentleman.
I was gonna say, but everything about our relationship has all the elements. He or he.
Yeah,
she's
but if
younger.
you're the same age, that's not your sugar daddy. That's just your partner.
No, you can still be a sugar daddy if you're the same age as the person.
I don't think so.
It just sounds weird when you say it.
I don't think so because the whole point of calling them a sugar daddy is because they're old enough to be your dad.
Okay, so and I'm trying to find out. So what is the term then? Same concept, but
you're just flashy.
But no. Same concept. Not what I said. Same sugar daddy concept where he or she. It's kind of we're going off on a tangent. But he is your age. So he's not your sugar daddy. What is he now? Just a simp?
He's just a flashy guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not your sugar daddy if he's your age. The whole point of you calling them a sugar daddy is because they're old enough to be your dad.
No, I think
that's the whole point.
I know, but I think
that's the whole point of a sugar daddy.
I see it more as sugar daddy. You're calling him that because he is providing for you the way your dad would. So he could be.
You know what? I wouldn't really know because I didn't have a sugar daddy. I didn't have the screws on right in college. Should have gotten a chance.
I'll be making it rain on you in gifts of pricey, flashy. I don't.
I know, which is why I'm like waiting to see where you're going with it.
I'll be having you blinged out.
Really?
Like a little bling, not a bling. I'll be having you gleamed out. Gleaming.
Anyways.
Anyway, what? Okay, Vicky. What else do we differ? Where else do we differ when it comes to values?
You're an introvert.
Yes.
Which is so annoying.
And you are?
I'm not an extrovert.
And that's why I asked you that because I feel like
what is it called? Ambivert or something like that?
New words? Okay. I've never heard that one. I could see you being an ambivert.
Yeah. I have a balance of extrovert and an introvert features. I think you're the same. But I think like they have to pay you for you to be social.
Explain before some people think that just sounds weird.
It sounds weird because it is weird.
What do you mean?
Ode's not being paid to be nice and social, he's just gonna sit there with a sour face and like just sit there and exist
for the listeners,
until it's time to go home.
For the listeners who don't know us, she's referring to I am an entertainer. I'm a DJ. I'm a host. And when I think I have had some people who maybe they're friends of Vicky's or just people who only know me in that capacity. When they interact with me outside of the gig, outside of the show, whatever, outside of the step show that they see me at, they're like, "You're kind of quiet." I'm like, "Yeah, because that was me performing and presenting." And as soon as I get off that stage, I find a corner, right? I just, I turn into a hermit, and I just kind of.
It is so annoying, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
Because that is not how you were when I met you.
You sure?
Yes. You were very social.
Explain. Or were we... Go ahead. Explain.
When we were dating.
I was very social, like in general or with you?
You were very social in general. So I feel like...
Give me an example.
Like when we went on a date and then we met up with Ravi.
Okay.
Or... when you would go to a party and you would take me with you and, you would be like talking and stuff. And then I realized like, oh shit, this is like, he sent me his representative.
No.
He's an indoor person. Because I used to like that because I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So like if I bring him around my family, he'll be talking with them and he'll be chopping it up. And, like, I'm not the life of the party, but I like to keep a party going. And so I'm like, oh, we can be that couple where we're just like, if we're there, they know they're going to have fun because we like to have fun when we're out because we can do both equally. But then I realized you don't do both equally. You do both equally when you're being paid to do it. Then you're both equally. But other than that, you're more like, I'd rather just be home.
And in no way does Vicky saying when I'm being paid to do it, meaning I'm being phony when I'm like at my
No,
gig
he's
and
not
stuff
being
like
phony, but he just like, then he'll actually give the energy to be that person.
I turn that switch on. That's my Sasha Fierce.
Right. And then when he's not getting paid for it.
I'm just Beyonce.
He is not Beyonce. He's the one that they kicked out the first group of Destiny's Child.
I'm Latoya Luckett?
Yeah. No, the first one they kicked out.
Wasn't she in the first?
No.
Rendition? I don't follow all the people they kicked. Wasn't Latoya Luckett one of the first four? The core four?
Oh, probably. I don't know.
And you call yourself a Beyonce
No.
Who?
Destiny's Child.
The short one?
You're right. I'm a Beyonce fan, not Destiny's Child.
You're talking about the shorter one. Shorter, darker skinned girl. I know who you're talking about. People don't even talk about her because she didn't have any kind of a post being kicked out career like Latoya Luckett did. Look at me sounding like a stan right now.
You do sound like a stan.
But yeah, I guess I
damn, Latoya Luckett was homeless after being kicked out of Destiny's Child.
And did Beyonce send her like, hey, let me help you out? No, she didn't. Kelly Rowland probably did. Michelle Williams probably didn't even know her. Where were we? We're going off topic.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about this girl.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well that's what I'm saying. The first one they kicked out.
You said I'm her?
Yeah.
What? But what Vicky's saying, like she said, when I am on stage or I'm performing, I can turn it on. But which I've said in a previous episode, like me at a gig, I'm like hosting the party, going in, dancing in the crowd, chilling with people. But the moment I leave, I'm in my car with Sam Cooke playing on 287, driving for like an hour and a half, or with no music, just in my piece. Because that's where I'm comfortable.
You're that, like, yeah, but then it's like odd when like people are around and you still don't talk. It's so annoying.
And I'm
like, oh my God, I'm dating this. Like, I'm with the guy that, as I was growing up, and like my aunts would date guys that they're just like an existence. They just exist there.
You know what I
But they never interacted. They don't really talk. Like that's literally how I saw them. I was like, oh my god, I ended up with that guy.
and I think it has to do with, to go back to our topic, things you value. I realized over time I really value my like alone time. Like I appreciate it because I've always put myself in situations, whether it was the type of job I have, the hobbies that I have, where I'm always like front and center. There was, I want to say, and this isn't like a pat on the back, I want to say there was a big portion of my life where I just said, screw me, and I dedicated my time to this job that I have. I dedicated my time to. I used to work at a camp for a camp for disabled children and adults, and everyone that worked there, we, for like whatever time you worked there, you literally put yourself aside, and from 8 a.m. to sometimes midnight, or not even 8 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 a.m. To midnight, you just gave of yourself and for me and other individuals, we did that for years, and I want to say the same for some of the other ones. When we left that situation, you saw all of us kind of dive into like just us, because we had given so much of ourselves. So I realized I do value just like my alone time. Because when I'm on stage and when I'm DJing and stuff, when I do get home, that's why I'm like quiet, I'm silent, because I have to like always be on and talk all the time. So and I know, I guess that does trickle over into like when I'm out with friends and family and stuff. But it's because of how much I value like just that silence, that quiet. Going back to what you were saying about, early on, I would be more social. When I was thinking about it, as you were saying like the examples, I thought about the people you mentioned were people who I kind of, in my opinion, I kept in like my small circle. Like you mentioned Ravi. Like I'll gladly go chill with Ravi because I get to stay in that small circle. Or the people we would go out with was, when we went to the clubs and stuff, it was like a small circle of the ones who I held close, It wasn't like, hey, let's go to a random club and just, chill in this big whatever. It would be like...
Well, I guess that's the impression I assumed.
Yeah. Well, you impressed wrong. I'm sure you got the wrong impression. But no, but I think that's a good example of two things we value that we have that are different.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said before, I've surrounded myself with all the toys I like, so I like staying inside. And it's when you have spent the whole day or the whole week or a long period of time just having to be out and on, and then when your partner wants to be social, it overlaps with a time when you are looking forward to not. You sometimes have trouble like still being on because you were planning to just kind of be off that day or those couple of days and stuff, and then you end up. Now your antisocialness and your introvertness is now overlapping into their being, which is the opposite. Not saying it's right. Anything else that we differ on? Like important. Or you have? Oh yeah, you say you have something.
On a foundation.
Oh. Are we okay to have this conversation? I mean, there is.
You care about how things start, and I don't.
Explain for the listeners.
Like, for Ode, the beginning is everything, and for me, it's not. I don't know how to explain that.
In regard to a relationship, or even in any kind of relationship, a friendship, a romantic relationship, I am very big on the foundation that it's built on. I feel like me and my brother Donald, we're close. We're very close because of the foundation of our friendship, the history, the experiences that we went through together, the way we became friends, the how much of ourselves we've given to each other in that, or given of ourselves in that friendship, and same with relationships. I look at it the same way, and I think the example that we talked about, I think during a therapy session, was it was a conversation you and I were having. For me, the foundation is what makes going through turmoil and rough patches easier because you're able to rely on that foundation, which are the memories. You're able to rely on those memories. You're able to or know that even though the person is cursing me out right now, they have told me that, hey, if I'm ever cursing you out, it's because I love you, or you know that it's just a passion that they have for you, friend or romantic partner, that's fueling what they're giving you at the moment. I guess like another example, a more practical example, is you were telling me the other day when we were feeling the ground shake because they were doing construction at the high school that they're building. It's because of how, what do you call it? It was pile driving. Because of how deep they were building into the ground to establish a foundation. That's why years from now, if like a windy day or a hurricane hits, they'll be ready for it because the foundation that they built was so strong. And that's why they go so deep and blah, blah, blah. You know more about that stuff than me. So that's why I value a strong foundation in any kind of relationship, even a family type relationship, you know?
Yeah, I don't. I think it's all bullshit.
Why?
Because I have friendships that started shaky, and they're better and stronger than friendships that I had that solid foundation with. Some of those people I don't even talk to anymore.
Am I wrong in feeling like...
So I don't... My whole perception is how you start is not how you finish. And so therefore, how you begin is not what matters. Is the direction that you're going in. And also that a foundation can be set anytime.
And that's what I was going to say.
It's not reserved for just the beginning. It could be for when you are solid in what that situation is about. Like for example, one of my friendships started super rocky. Super tumultuous, I would say. And after a few years of us being friends, I feel like that foundation of the kind of friendship that we have would just set. And when they build a house and they build a foundation for the house to sit on, the house will shift because as you're bringing furniture in, as you're, as more weight is being added, it kind of like shifts to settle into the foundation.
Okay.
And people that build houses account for that kind of like earth shift that it does a little bit because the soil was moved around and stuff like that. So I feel like until that relationship, either romantic relationship or friendship or whatever, doesn't do that shift that houses do, kind of like getting like comfortable, like, okay, now I'm good. I feel like that's when the foundation, because that's when you can just handle the whatever. But I feel like that shakiness, until that shakiness is not out, there is no real foundation. So I always have the impression that foundation for you is the beginning. And to me, I'm like, that is bullshit. Because like I mentioned, I know I have friendships that the foundation, in your terms, was strong and hanging strong and going strong for years. And now I'll be lucky if I see this person every like 6 or 7 years or talk to them, like actually have conversations with them. And then I have the complete opposite of friendships, that those friendships mean more to me than the ones that I started many years ago and we were friends for a really long time. And then shit hit the fan and then we just never we never became back to what we were. You get what I'm saying? Like I feel like the relationship that started on shaky ground has more of a chance standing through a tough time than the one that had the foundation from the beginning.
I think you put too much, when it comes to me, and I think you put too much emphasis on me saying the beginning.
What's what you said?
I didn't say that. I said I think you put too much emphasis on me saying the quote unquote the beginning, the word beginning. Because the beginning for us, I'm not talking about when we first. I'm talking about the beginning for us was a couple years. The beginning. So I'm not saying just like when we first start knowing each other, or we first acknowledge each other, friendship, relationship, whatever. I'm talking like, that first, week, month, whatever. It could be a process, a long duration of time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know we mentioned some earlier, but what's the one, in your opinion, what's the one thing that, if we don't share this value, there is no point? I'm sure there's many, but what's one that you can think of that most people be like, you're right? But not the obvious, not the whether or not you want to have kids or religion, politics, but what's another not so popular but relatable, like, this is kind of a deal breaker when it comes to values?
People who don't understand my closeness or would question my closeness with my family. Yeah, I have none of that.
I agree with that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely one of those cultural things.
It is a cultural thing.
Yeah, and I could see it. I could see that probably being an issue with like relationships from like drastically different cultures, where one could be like, "Why are you trying to see your family every day?" Because them and their family is very like, hi, bye every 2 months or whatever like that. So I could see that being an issue, possibly being an issue when you're dating a culture that's like completely different from yours. Like, even though we're from different countries, our cultures are kind of the same when it comes to like the family.
Yeah.
Different cultures that have different family dynamics, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Let's ask some questions, Vicky.
Okay.
We encourage everybody to always engage in games such as this that we do towards the end of every episode, where we just kind of ask some questions and you'll realize the things you know about a person, or you'll get to know them a little bit better, even though you've been together for 10 years. Wow. Go ahead.
Describe what you think I was like as a child.
Trying to think of some movies that came to mind. Problem Child. No. What I think you were like as a child?
Mm-hmm.
When I think of you as a child, I think of that picture. You're at like a birthday party somewhere, and everyone's like standing there, like, smiling, or some just kind of looking normal, and you're just there like, no.
You're talking about my picture.
That was a solo picture, where
No.
you're like, that was a group picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where you're in the picture with this like,
that's my default picture on Instagram.
This frumpy face on, like, and you look like that child who's like, not that you were the bad kid, but you were like you got talked to a lot. But not because you were doing something bad, but just because you were like, not being sassy, but you were being not disrespectful, but you were just kind of like, you were the one that you were the one that probably gave some attitude. If somebody, whether it was a adult or a fellow cousin or a cousin or a sibling, annoyed you, you were the child who was quick to tell them they were annoying you or tell them about themselves. Again, brother, sister, cousin, mom, dad, aunt.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think you were like as a child. Like, you weren't, or a friend, or you weren't afraid to like do that, and you probably got a couple pow-pows for that.
Yeah, that's definitely how I was as a kid.
Okay. When you say kid, you mean like within the last couple of years, right? Vicky, what do you think I really want that you don't fully understand? Wow.
I don't know. I don't have any idea.
Okay. We will accept that as an answer.
Really? You don't want to just try another one?
No, we'll accept it as an answer. Let's close out by making sure we point out or we identify a positive of the week. And you don't have one this week?
I should have one, but you can go first
Okay.
while I think of it.
So my positive of the week is I want to shout out some fellow podcasters. I want to shout out the Officially Street podcast. They actually, their last episode, they mentioned that, or I think, no, by the time you guys hear this, they will have already celebrated 5 years of their podcast. And for some, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's cool. But it was for them, it was 5 years, no weeks off. For 5 years, they have put out an episode or two for some consistently. So I want to shout out them for that. For somebody who's been doing podcasting and streaming for all these years, who's also struggled with being consistent. Here they are celebrating 5 years, always consistent, no weeks off. So shout out to J Omega, shout out to Cherry Poppins and Sayer, the entire Officially Street podcast team for 5 years of their podcast. So check them out everywhere you can find podcasts. So shout out to them. And that is my positive shout out for the week. What about you? If you got one. You can shout me out. No? Okay. All right. Want me to like Photoshop you saying, not Photoshop, but want me to edit you or do a voice dub? So just move your mouth like this. And I'll be like, I want to shout out Ode.
For what?
Just me being me. You should shout us out for doing our first TikTok together.
Oh, yeah. I would say that for putting together a TikTok, which was like extremely difficult. I don't know how people do that.
Remember what
It was really hard.
Remember what, this is off topic. Remember what I said about people on TikTok making money and that girl who's like, she's like the face of TikTok and she's always drinking Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts now has the Charlie.
Oh, wow. Is that the girl that dances bad?
No, she's a good dancer. She's like a legit dancer. There's a bunch of people on TikTok who probably don't dance as well. I want to say dance bad. But
Are we talking about the same girl?
I don't know. But she's
I gotta Google it.
She's a legit professional like dancer. She's been on stage with some professionals, some artists, but she is a trained dancer. So with that said, before we go on a TikTok rant, yes.
I thought she's the one that people make fun of her dancing.
No, that's because people are haters. I'm sure if somebody reached to the top of Instagram and becomes the face of Instagram, even though they're extremely talented, people are going to say, oh, they're trash, because that's what we do as people. So with that said, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the You, Me, We podcast.